Hello, church. As we look forward to gathering again this weekend, either in person or online or over the radio, WPGM, I want to ask you to consider the following question. What is worship? Is worship that once a week thing that we do as we gather together? Is it an event? In Romans chapter 12, verses 1 through 2, we read this: I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. It seems as we read through these verses that worship is a giving of ourselves over to God. We read in Deuteronomy chapter 6, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. There's a command to love God with everything that you have. Jesus, when asked in Matthew chapter 22, what is the greatest commandment, responded with this: Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And so I ask you a second question. What is the motivation to love God? Why would you and I want to love God? I believe it's because he took the first step. We are sinners by birth, and we're sinners by choice. And that sin has separated us from a holy God. And we are under his righteous judgment for our sin. But we're reminded he took the first step. 1 John chapter 4, verse 10. This is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sin. God the Father sent God the Son, Jesus Christ, here to live, die, and raise again for our sin. We are under the rightful judgment of God, and there's nothing we can do on our own to remedy that situation. But Jesus Christ came as that sacrifice for our sin. And when we admit our sin and believe that his death and resurrection is payment for our sin, seeking his forgiveness, turning from our sin, repenting, and turning to him, our relationship with him becomes restored. The Bible calls that reconciliation. This is the motivation to love. This is the motivation to worship. And so worship becomes our life. It's 24/7. This changes everything. It affects our relationship with others. It provides the passion to share God's love with others, to make disciples. The greatest news ever. And so our worship of God travels with us wherever we go. So I hope that you've had a great week of worship as we look forward to gathering together again. As we gather, we'd like to request that certain guidelines continue to be followed. I know it's a bit confusing because we've entered the green phase in our area, and yet that doesn't mean that everything returns back to what it was before, because they're still requesting certain guidelines. And so we ask you to follow these as well that we've come up with. So if you, in general, if you have been sick or recently, or someone in your family has been sick recently, or you've been experiencing a fever, we ask that you remain at home and worship via the live stream or the radio station, WPGM. We also ask that you consider staying at home if you have other challenges, such as age-related challenges or health challenges. Hand sanitizing stations will be available upon entering and leaving. Bathrooms will be available, but we ask and suggest that you avoid using them if at all possible. Please wash your hands thoroughly upon leaving the bathroom. Offering boxes will be available for giving, and again, we're grateful for how the Lord's provided for this fellowship. In particular, if you attend the 8 a.m. service, which will be held in the sanctuary, we ask that you please enter via the upper main entrance. The entrance doors will be open, as well as the doors to the sanctuary. For the benefit of others, we are requesting that everyone please wear a mask and practice social distancing. The pews will be marked accordingly for the appropriate social distancing. At the conclusion of the service, we will dismiss from the back first. We ask that you not gather in the sanctuary or the foyer, but that you go outside so that you can practice the appropriate social distancing. For the 10:30 a.m. service, we will be meeting again outside, and it looks like the weather is going to be terrific. If restrooms are needed, there will be 2 doors open to the gym, one for entrance, one for exit. They'll be marked appropriately. And again, if you need to use the bathroom, we ask that you wash your hands thoroughly upon leaving. We also request that everyone continue to practice social distancing, even though we are outside. Again, as a reminder, this is for the benefit of others. Please bring your own chairs, blankets, sunscreen, whatever you need for being outside. In the case of inclement weather, we will meet in the gym, at which point everyone will be asked to please wear a mask and practice appropriate social distancing. I know that not everybody may agree with these guidelines, but we're requesting that you follow them. We are called to serve one another, even if it involves limiting our own personal freedoms. We ask that you continue to please pray for the church leadership. If you have any ideas, suggestions, or concerns, we ask that you please contact your deacon or one of the pastors. Again, we're looking forward to gathering together again, whether that be in person or online or over the radio. May we have the joy of worshiping together. And may it be a celebration of a week filled with worship. Have a blessed day.